Our beloved 8% Hard AF Seltzer is now live in over 2,500 locations across the United States. We're now available in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, Ohio, Idaho, Illinois, Michigan, Montana, Oregon, and Texas. Go to hardafseltzer.com today, click on the store locator, enter your city or zip, and find the nearest location closest to you. Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Yeah, welcome to Drinkin' Bros, kids. It's a good Friday around these parts on YouTube. Nailed it. Sorry, D'Anthony, I dotted my T's and crossed my I's.
What are you talking about?
Right? Is that it? Is that the old phrase there for Good Friday? It's the old T's there.
You mean the cross?
He's going to rise. He's risen, okay? He's risen, all right?
Right now, he's dead.
Right now. But he's coming back to life on Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't think he's eaten it yet.
But guys, Sunday, he's coming back.
I mean, time zone-wise, I think we're good on that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Yes. So, Bob, respect. Show some respect. I don't know what time it is in Jerusalem, but...
Well, if you go by the weird Jew rules, they change their holidays based on the solstices and stuff every year, like when the sun's in different positions.
Do they really?
Yeah, that's why it's different. You just pick fucking days,
yes,
man.
that's it. Yeah,
Whoa,
I know.
hey.
Right there, first 10 minutes, boom.
1 minute.
Boom, yeah.
Oh, are we doing that still?
No, we're not anymore, so it doesn't really matter. We're getting 4 subscribers a day on this. But we are live on Good Friday. Why? Not because we're not religious, which I don't think we are, but we also were behind this month, and we're doing live shows the rest of the month for Hard AF Seltzers, and we didn't know if we were going to be able to get our only black guy on the show for the month, and thank God you said yes today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Because we couldn't have done this without you, Adam Coleman. Adam Coleman, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You are black, right?
Last time I checked.
Okay, cool. Just want to confirm.
He identifies as black.
I identify as black.
Just making sure. And you've got a new book out, The Children We Left Behind. I'm going to put this right here on camera as close as I can. And the reason is from afar, and I'm just going to say this as a white, okay? I know the stereotype is that all black people don't look.
I already know what you're about to say. Go ahead.
Is this the kid from Trump's thing?
Oh, no. Oh, you disappointed me.
That would be a good troll if you just started putting random black children on different.
Bob, pull up the little sheriff, the little guy there. I thought.
No.
Well, let's do a side by side and then let the audience decide. We're live right now, so it's fine.
No way.
Come on.
No, it's not even close. What are you talking about?
Come on.
No.
Bob, bring up the book. Pull up The Children We Left Behind on Amazon.
Yeah.
Pull it up on Amazon. That way we can go side by side with the cover in picture here, so that way it's live. I was like, oh, shit. You guys really got ahead of this, man. Like, this kid blew up. So there you are. Here's the book for sale on Amazon right now. That's you. Now let's see the little sheriff here.
No.
Go back and forth.
No.
And then the little sheriff.
I don't see it. His face is rounder.
I kind of see it. And I think it's because you guys are both black. And I hate to say that, but I think that's what it is for me.
See, I thought you were going to say I look like Kanye West.
No.
That's why I was disappointed.
No, not at all. Not at all. That would be me calling you a Nazi, essentially, at this point. I don't know where I live with Kanye right now. We've had this debate a couple weeks ago. He dropped an album. Did you hear it by any chance? Because he deleted it in 48 hours.
No.
And it was just labeled version 1. It was fucking phenomenal. And every review was just like, God damn it, I hate that I love this Kanye. For real. That was the literal headlines. It's like, it gives me no joy to say that Kanye West made a great Kanye West album. Mm-hmm. But if you call somebody that now, they kind of take it as like, oh, you're calling me a fucking Nazi these days, with Kanye.
No, I mean, for me, I've been called Kanye West as far as like I look like him.
Sure.
All over the world.
Okay.
I've been stopped. Like I was in Italy, and some random Italian guy is like, Kanye.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, everywhere I go.
White guy.
Yeah.
White guy.
Do you just lean into it and go like, yep, Kanye?
You have to. You have to, right?
This was before the Nazi.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
there was this pre-Nazi?
Pre-Nazi.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
put us all in a very difficult position because on the one hand, there's the Nazi thing. And on the other hand, I don't like the fact that he's black, you know?
Yeah.
So I've got to choose.
He's got to choose which one.
I love the
for white
clothes. I love the
supremacists,
clothes. All of it, like he changes his entire website and just puts a hood with a swastika on the fucking. What are you
I think
doing?
it was just a T-shirt.
What are you doing?
Well,
oh yeah, it was just a T-shirt.
But the other thing too was he made the Super Bowl commercial on an iPhone. Spent $7 million. Sent in an iPhone commercial. It just said go to Yeezy.com, and then it was the swastika shirt. So
it's a pretty good troll.
I actually think people probably bought it.
Yeah, there's probably some people that bought it. I mean, to be honest, if I had known that was what was going to happen, I would probably buy one just as for memorabilia. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's such a weird thing to have happened. And how are you ever going to explain any of this to anybody?
I don't know.
In the future.
I don't know.
Without physical evidence. Like, there's no way that a fucking black rap superstar, one of the biggest sellers of rap music of all time, is selling exclusively a white T-shirt with a black swastika on it. I'm sorry, I don't believe you.
It's nuts,
Right?
dude. It's nuts. But the reason why we wanted to have you on today is your new book, The Children We Left Behind, is how Western culture rationalizes family separation and ignores the pain of child neglect. I feel like we're seeing this on a daily basis with a lot of things that are going on in the world,
Right.
and I kind of wanted to get your take on it. First one, this one fired me up. Bob, if you can go to Twitter and pull up the lawyer from the Karmelo case yesterday.
A lot of clips, which I'll give you the Rittenhouse clip here.
I don't give a shit about that, but whatever you want to show, feel free.
So he, to paraphrase, the guy's like, there's no video of this, but we got video of Kyle Rittenhouse shooting 3 people in the back with an AK-47. It's like, well, that's the wrong weapon. He didn't shoot anybody in the back.
Right.
It's like, you got a lot of stuff wrong there, bud.
Right.
So why even bring that up? What's that got to do with anything?
People are angry about this, but let me just actually calm you down for a second and tell you why this is all great news.
Why is that?
Because A, this kid did it, and he's going to be guilty no matter what.
Yeah.
And if you're hoping for a harsher sentence, this is his lawyer.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not going to go well in court.
Well,
The parents are not, I wouldn't say they're rich, but they're certainly doing fine. Like financially, so they'll at some point you would think they'll figure out that this guy's retarded and be like, all right, let's get a real lawyer here.
I'm not sure because you don't allow this press conference to go on. So play this Rittenhouse clip first, and then we'll get to the next clip that pissed me off to no end. Where like it's very hard to get me on social media these days, where I am fucking angry about shit and. The next clip, what that lawyer said about that kid's dad being at the press conference, I was like, that this lawyer, all his assistants and everybody would no longer be breathing that.
By the way,
night
it's
if he
just a
said this about my
coincidence
kid.
that our headphones are white
And black.
and yours are black. It's just a coincidence.
Dan,
That's I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's really
Well, you know
kind.
which ones to pick up, so that's helpful.
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
That's like going for the black emoji.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
I appreciate
welcome.
that.
You're welcome. But go ahead and play this clip, Bob.
These are the type of lies. She's getting millions of views on this. Sarah, she's even came after me. She's even said all of those things. And now that the public knows exactly what is going on, I asked, because these racist bigots tried to prevent us from standing up for our baby, our boy, he should be afforded the same rights that Kyle Rittenhouse had, Daniel Penna, and all of the people who have claimed whatever their defense was. He should be afforded the same right. Nobody in the public media has one video camera, but we got the video of Kyle Rittenhouse with an AK-47 shooting 3 people in the back. We got that. And he raised more than $2 million publicly.
It's a
and
Nazi
nobody
salute, by the way.
said
But I
anything.
don't want to say that.
So since they tried to come for us, I call for the community's overwhelming support for this fund. The disinformation that was put out was literally deliberate to prevent you from helping this family.
I mean, he's just grifting for money.
And
This is nuts.
Want you
That's
to
not
give
great.
overwhelming support to show them the community united can never be divided. And I'm gonna say this again, and this is for everybody. Black people in America, while the current occupant sits at 1600 Pennsylvania, black people in America don't have to pull the race card. It's what we live as a reality every day.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
It's what we have to teach our children.
Okay.
We don't want to, but we have to. We don't like to, but if we want to sleep at night, we got to. I ain't pulling no race card. I live it. I'm reminded all the time that I'm a black man in America.
Okay, so as a black man
it's a $3,000
in America,
it's a $3,000 suit he's wearing right there.
it sure is. But as a black man in America, do you agree with anything of what this guy's saying?
First off, I learned about a couple years ago that I'm not allowed to give this opinion. I have to wait for a white woman to tell me.
Well, we got a couple in the
We
back.
say that all the time on this show. Like, I think the outrage is always by whites, liberal women, and it has nothing to do with black people at all.
All right, so the first thing I was thinking, where is this guy from? Because he has a weird accent. He said Daniel Penna, and I'm like, who's Daniel Penna? Oh, Daniel Penny. Oh, okay. Like, I was just trying to figure that part out. But I was also thinking, I hate to be this guy. If let's say he's being 100% genuine, and every day he's like, I'm reminded that I'm a black man, and he's just that paranoid, I would hate to be that type of person who wakes up every day paranoid that something is about to happen because of a guy who sits at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Like that, one, I don't believe him. I don't think that's actually the case. I'm sure he lives actually a pretty good life. This is all performative. And it's very clear he didn't have a script because he's all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
At least write some fucking bullet points, dude.
This was the
Damn.
preacher got sick on Sunday, and hey, man, your brother's got to fill in. Go ahead.
Right.
Your brother Daryl.
Freestyle. Yeah.
He's just up there saying shit, you know?
Yeah. So listen, I think this entire case is strange from a sense, and I'm probably like an outlier when I heard people talking about it, and this is from both perspectives, I was like, why this case? Like, why are we talking about this? Because I'm always skeptical about why we're talking about certain news stories. Because I also understand, as being part of the media, we only talk about certain things at certain times, but there's bad things that happen all over, all over the world. So why this story? And
it's always a good question to ask.
Yeah. And for me, obviously, like, it's tragic that a kid lost his life. It's also tragic that a young man, he's probably going to lose much of his life to being locked up too. Like, it's tragic all around. But why this story, though? And the only thing I can come up with is that people want to stem some sort of racial animosity, some sort of race conflict. And from my understanding, I'm not like super on this case, but from my understanding, the conflict didn't start because one person's white and one person's black, right? This is just the visual that everyone wants to use. So on one side, they want to say, see, black people are violent. On the other side, no, he's really innocent, and the white people are coming after him. It just becomes this whole thing that only a few people profit from, including this guy. So
Right, and the way I looked at this case was, and maybe it's me and where I grew up, and Dan was the same way. Dan grew up in an all-black neighborhood. My best friends growing up were black and all that other shit. Like,
That's why I talk this way.
Exactly. And for me personally, like, I haven't seen, like, we travel all over the goddamn United States and have for 10 years straight. You name it, inner city, outer rural, country, and I have not seen racism in real life. I don't know if you have. Certainly nobody was racist to my friends at school, although it was a predominantly white school. I don't know if you saw it because you were the only white kid probably at your school. Like,
for a while, in my elementary years, up until like 5th grade, I think, yeah.
Okay. Just you being white, I guess?
I mean, it wasn't an issue.
Right.
We're children.
Sure,
Nobody
sure.
knows what the fuck's going on with any of that.
Yeah.
I mean...
So to me, the reason why I bring this up, I don't understand why race in high school plays any part in this whatsoever.
Well, I mean...
One guy brought a butcher knife to school and stabbed the other kid in the chest.
Right.
Yeah.
He's dead. That's it. End of story.
Well,
if you just tell me that without their races, pictures, I don't see this fucking lawyer. I don't see anybody.
That's not the end of the story, though. The story goes much deeper than that. It is that this dude and I don't know what his twins, the dead kid and his twin, I don't know what their involvement together was, but the dead kid was...
Austin Metcalf is his name.
Yeah, he was fucking with Karmelo Anthony days prior. And who knows who started that conflict, right? They go to different schools. There was some other event. The word on the street is that they were fucking with him and broke Anthony's phone or some shit like that. And then when he went back to his school, some of Metcalf's friends at that school were also fucking with him or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's not great, but that's how teen boys can be sometimes. And you want to teach young men to stand up for themselves and not tolerate that shit. Fair enough. But what you can't do is fucking arm yourself and then go sit in somebody else's space and instigate a fight and then claim self-defense. With a butcher knife. That's first-degree murder.
Yes,
frankly, right?
There's nothing, like it's an open and shut case,
that's
in my
stupid.
opinion.
Like I mean, if and this is another example of like where parents were certainly not involved in either one of these dudes' life in the way they should be, frankly, in my opinion, right? This is an issue of young men with a lot of emotion and physical strength, which is a bad combination. That's why men should not be emotional. Mm-hmm. And they let this thing come to a head without any kind of authority figure intervening and saying, hey, you know what you guys should do is get some boxing gloves on and beat the Christ out of each other for 45 minutes.
But did anybody at either school know this was going on prior?
I don't know, but the parents should.
But here's the thing. If your kid doesn't tell you about it, how are you going to know?
Well, I mean, yeah, certainly not. But if I'm Anthony's parents and if my kid's got a $1,500 phone and it gets broken, I'm knowing about it.
Yes. Now that part, that part I agree with. Yes.
I immediately know about that.
Well, all of our kids, kids, would come up to me and say, "Hey, do you have children?"
Yeah. I have a son.
They would come up and say, "Hey, Dad, this was what happened with school. I don't have my phone anymore. I got broken or whatever." And then yes, I would know about it from them.
So I mean, look, I'm not gonna fucking backseat parent like that. Who knows? These people don't seem like they're great people, frankly, based on the way the person they hired for this, they're trying to grift money from this. That's the way it seems, at least. Who knows? Maybe they'll fire this guy and move on to a reasonable person. Well, TBD on that. But this is all completely unacceptable behavior. But it's emblematic of what Adam talks about a lot, is that we've completely given up on kids. Mm-hmm. And we're just kind of either hoping for the best or staying out of their way at this point, which is neither one of those things is good.
It's not. And at the end of this, Bob, go to your Twitter and play the next clip here.
Yeah, this is the dad one.
This was...
Yeah, I got it.
The one I just sent you real quick here. Okay. Because then we'll go to the dad one. The dad one is what made me angry, but the end of this clip is what another listener sent in, where he blames the school because...
Oh, for the weather?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm like,
for the weather?
Oh, yeah. Buckle up, guys.
You'll see.
Buckle up.
Real quick, I just want to note on the first-degree murder note, there is no first-degree murder in Texas. So the way he would be charged is either capital murder, which is typically reserved for, like truly, not that this wasn't a heinous act, but like mass shootings, killing a cop, killing a child under 10, like very, very... heinous murders, and then the next charge is just murder.
And what does that carry sentence-wise?
That is 25 to life, probably.
I think it's 5 to 99.
That's a spectrum.
Yeah, it's like Legos.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool, man.
Yeah, but so if people hear later, like he doesn't get a first-degree murder charge, there is no first-degree murder charge in Texas.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think the family of the victim should be able to kill that guy. That's what I think.
Well, he was there, and we'll get to that in a second. But play this last part of this press conference here, and then we'll get to the part that really fucking pissed me off.
I'm trying to find how many of y'all have asked the superintendent or one single board of trustees, why didn't you cancel or postpone? With weather in that magnitude, you couldn't have a track meet in rain or thunderstorm or clouds. Y'all are the media. Ask your journalists, your weather journalists, how the weather was that day and that time.
Where did this guy go to law school?
I don't know if he did.
Because
and we'll get to that after this.
Is the administrator of your children. You are responsible for the safety of the children. And so it seems as if Frisco ISD is trying to push this off.
Okay, so that's
Actually,
awesome. So,
I'm not-
hey guys, when it rains though, I do give a butcher knife to my kids to go to school.
Just in case you got to chop the rain out of the way.
Yes, you got to chop it out of your way so you can see.
Like your Indiana Jones.
on when you're doing PE and everything else. Like
This
what
is
the
just
fuck.
This is, you know what? I mean, it's very transparent what he's doing. He's trying to position to sue the school board after this trial.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is not an attorney. This is their minister.
Oh God.
Oh, okay.
Why is he involved in
Come
this?
on, man. Are you serious, Bob?
I'm gonna murder somebody.
I just
Wait.
called that. I said this is like a preacher's brother. Like, hey,
I'm gonna
show up, dude. I can't be there today.
I'm gonna murder somebody and then have Gary do all of my fucking stuff.
Oh my God.
All of my
dude.
press conference is gonna be Gary.
First off, I trust this guy more with law than scripture. I don't trust him at
Do
all.
you? I don't. Both are a heavy toss-up for me here.
It's not a big difference, but this whole thing,
Good
this whole
Lord.
thing isn't happening because of weather.
No.
It's because someone was stabbed and someone
Yes.
died.
Yes.
So to litigate like the smallest detail, that's like saying, well, why didn't the school address the type of clothes they should wear that day? It was raining outside. Like, who cares? Someone died.
Yeah, if he died
that's
of a,
not the problem.
If he died of a chest cold, they would
Right.
have a case. But he died of a stab wound to the chest, which is
Or
quite a bit
I
different.
thought for sure at the end of this he was going to say, the metal bleachers were wet and the knife had slipped into his chest. And I was like, okay, is that where we're going with this? Like, so you can't, the school board's probably going to have nothing to fucking do with this. Now, as a parent, you can probably agree. This last clip, Bob, that I sent you was, this angered me to no end last night.
Mm-hmm.
And if this guy would have said this about my child, I don't care what race, color, he would no longer be breathing.
Bob.
Play this clip.
Wait, this dude was fucking a campaign strategist for Cory Bush.
It gets better.
The dumbest person in the fucking world.
Yeah. All of this gets better.
Oh my God.
All of it, Dan, because I still have a lot more on this. Play this clip.
And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who is not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. Okay? What he has failed into is the political operatives that want to make this thing.
This is the father
a political
of the
thing
dead
of hate,
child who went
yet
to the press
bigotry,
conference.
and yet racism. We have conservative operatives that have been posting nonstop about this case. And
Okay.
all I'm going to say.
After that, because the dad went of the, his dead son, and he just wanted to see what was going on. Maybe have a chance to meet with the family. They had him removed. And then he goes on and says that it's inappropriate for the father to be there for his dead son to watch this press conference. I'm like, what fucking world are we living in, dude?
What kind of minister is this? Because I thought a minister was supposed to help unite people, help people heal, right? But that last part, he was projecting. He's saying there's these political operatives out here who are trying to drive a wedge while you just literally went on a political speech about how Donald Trump is somehow responsible for you feeling paranoid about being black in America. This is I'm like lost for words because this is the first time I'm saying this.
Yes. So I saw it last night, and my wife did as well. And I would have fucking. That would have been it. That would have been the end of Drinkin' Bros. Like, hey, dude, I'm going after this guy, his entire family, everything else, just for even saying that at a press conference.
Well, you know what Dana Lash said? Austin Metcalf's dad showed it is possible to leave when asked without stabbing anybody, unlike Karmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
Did she really say that?
She tweeted it, yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. But it was in regards to him as a minister. I'm glad you brought that up. So turns out he's got quite a rap sheet. Felony injury to a child, 2009. The lawyer we just showed, minister.
Minister.
Forging a check Right around or just after 2009, it says leading police on a high-speed chase, stealing a car, falsely claiming a car was stolen, which is awesome. Offensive physical contact, that was in 2015. Probation violations, 2016. Felony theft of property between $2,500 and $30,000, that was in 2016. Felony assault causing serious bodily injury, that was in 2019. Misdemeanor assault, 2019. Continuous violence against his own family in 2019. One more theft, making a false report, another one, and then evading arrest, which is awesome. He doesn't look that fast, but the minister there, but apparently he was. So all of those are the charges that he has as a minister.
So what was the latest one? I heard 2019.
Beating up his family or false report?
Evading arrest was the last one.
Was the last
theft,
one?
yes.
Was
yes.
like 2020 or something like that?
Yeah.
So, your spiritual leader hasn't been clean more than a decade.
More than 5 years. More than 5 years.
I'm just like, what? Wait. So when did he go to?
Well, in 2009, he was arrested for shaking and hitting the 2-year-old child of his then girlfriend. So he should have been executed for that.
Hang on. The child ended up in the ICU with subdural hemorrhage between the halves of the brain and the back of the spine, as well as retinal hemorrhages. That's
If you
what
hurt a child, should be publicly executed. The end.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't have any tolerance for this stuff. If this dude shows up anywhere around here in Austin, I'm going to fuck him up.
It is just insane, man. And like, this couldn't have gone any worse. But again, this all leads into your book. Mm-hmm. Dan has talked about this subject on the show for years and years and years. And I think it is very important. Like, yeah, when you don't have a father in the household or a separated family and all this other stuff, it's hard, man. And then the kids end up lashing out. Like,
oh, yeah.
I coach all these teams at night, and I've said that ad nauseum on the show. With that, I've seen the best and the worst of it. I've had a police officer show up in off-duty clothing to make sure the parents were going through a divorce, that the child was able to practice at this practice, and the dad or the mom wasn't going to interfere. He came up and introduced himself. He said, "Hey, plainclothes officer, blah, 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 blah," and there's a contentious divorce going on with his child on your team, and it was just like, it was bad.
Did you tell him that you were a plainclothes criminal? And to look the other way because I got some stuff going on here?
Hey,
we're running a gambling ring over here with these kids.
Don't search the Trump shoe behind me. But with that, I've seen this firsthand multiple times. Now, that's the only time that the one that I just mentioned that a police officer was actually involved in it, because the parents were going through a nasty divorce, and this was a great kid. After this happened to this kid, because I really enjoyed him, 1, he started missing games. 2, he got very, very quiet and didn't want to communicate with his teammates and everything else. The team themselves came to me and asked about what had happened to this child. And I said, hey, he could really use your friendship right now because he's going through a tough time at home. I don't want to get into the police or the divorce or anything else, especially with kids under 10 years old. Mm-hmm. But it affects children in such a negative way that it's really hard to overcome. Yeah. And by the way, it doesn't matter what race you are. Like, white or black, a separated family and a father figure or a mother figure isn't great for anyone at all whatsoever. So in your book, what do you recommend to stop things like this from happening?
Love your children more than you hate your spouse.
I agree. I've always agreed with that.
And so if there, for some reason, which I'm not one of those like absolutists, there's no reason to get divorced. There are definitely reasons to get divorced. But I do think that there are some reasons where it's just because you're too prideful or you lack communication skills, and there are things that you could resolve, but you just decided that you want to go elsewhere for whatever reason. All right, let's say that's fine. I can't stop that. Well, at that point, everything is about your child, not about your lawyers, not about hurting your partner or your soon-to-be ex-partner. It's about what's for the benefit of my child. Mm-hmm. So you're going to move forward, and you know that this divorce is going to hurt your child because kids, their world, especially you just mentioned that young man was under the age of 10.
Correct.
His world is essentially his mother and father.
Yes.
And when they split up, it's like the world splits in half. And they don't know how to handle that, right? And even adults don't know how to handle breakups, right? So imagine a child who doesn't have a full understanding of adult relationships And now you're choosing to split it apart and have them figure out the rest. Meanwhile, you two are like, they're like grown children. They get to act like children, right? And they get to bicker back and forth and bring lawyers, and a cop has to come to separate them to make sure everything is good. But they expect the child to respond like an adult and just handle whatever is about to come their way. So
yeah, and like, let's take that particular case, for example. Like, he had pulled me aside, was very quiet, and then said, hey, the mom's bringing him, the dad's taking him home, here's what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right, cool, man, I'm good with it. But, you know, as the season went on, the child became more and more distant, started missing games. I mean, I've never seen somebody so affected that quickly in such a quick amount of time. I mean, it was a 3-week change where it was just like, holy cow, man. One of the happiest kids in the world to just completely solemn, uncommunicative, all of it. Like, and it was intense, man.
Yeah.
And no one really takes that into account anymore. I don't think.
I don't think so either. I think it becomes about what the adults want. That's why you hear phrases like, well, as long as I'm happy, my child will be happy. And that's not how kids operate, you know? And I do think that I say this as a Christian, where it's Good Friday, but I do think that there's an element of not holding a higher authority, to avoid having a higher authority, help them to dictate their conduct. So for me, I got married in a church in front of God and made a promise to my wife. That holds a lot more weight than saying, I just signed a piece of paper and got married to a woman, right? And so that dictates my conduct far stronger than anything else. And so if I have a kid involved, I say, I made a promise to my wife to stick this out, to work things out. I can only do my part. If she's off somewhere else, I can't control that. But I can do my part as a man to make sure that I stay together, work this out, lower my ego, and figure out how we can resolve this for the betterment of my child. And you saw, like you just said, as soon as they split out, in a matter of weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah.
3 weeks, that kid is trying to figure out, how do I fix this crumbling world? Or he might even be saying, it's my fault. And a lot of kids do that. Yeah,
and you know, for me, and like, let's take the teachers and this guy blaming the school and all this other bullshit. Like, I can't intervene in that. That is a child that is not mine. Right. That I'm simply here to coach her, and these guys were here to teach her and coach at this track meet or whatever it was. If that, let's say that officer didn't come up to me and tell me what that conflict was, I would have no idea what's going on with that kid. Right. None whatsoever.
Yeah, but once something happens, you can start to look at some of the, you can look around the periphery and put together what happened, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that they hired this clown to be their spokesperson, and the fact that he immediately pivoted towards absolving responsibility from the kid means that's what's happening in the household as well, right? Mm-hmm. That dude, the dad, the Karmelo Anthony's dad, looks like a fucking cuck. Frankly, he looks like a little bitch to me.
I haven't seen him.
He looks
I saw
like
the mom. Oh, is that the father in the back?
I assume that's who it is. Otherwise, there's some bow tie wearing
somebody
motherfucker.
from the church.
Maybe he is wearing a bow tie, so he may be Nation of Islam or something. But that dude looks like a fucking cuck. And then it's going to be hard to find with a famous guy. With
the exact same name. Yeah. Look up Michael Jordan.
But Metcalf's dad is a fucking cuck too. Look at him. No shoulders. This guy's a pussy, man. It's like, what the fuck? You can tell, and the kids are out there bullying other kids and stuff like that, which seems to be, like, we heard that from a personal friend whose child was in the area.
Correct.
Right? So I believe him.
We just happen to have a business partner whose child actually goes to the school.
Yeah.
So we got this news.
I believe that is the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It is. He looks like a little bitch. And obviously the Metcalf dad is a bitch too. Like there's something about these are actually young athletes, right? Super athlete. Both the twins and the black kid are all fucking super athletic kids. They're all performing athletically. That's why they were there in the first place, right?
Right.
And so they're supercharged on testosterone because they're all like 16, 17, 18 years old. Supercharged on testosterone, have no emotional regulation whatsoever. And what that tells me is that dad didn't roughhouse with them when they were kids, because that's what it is. You wrestle around with your kids, and it teaches them in a situation, we were talking about this earlier actually, it teaches them in a situation where they're not the most physically dominant, that how to emotionally regulate in that situation instead of freaking out and going into fucking rage. They just like accept, just like a dog, by the way. Like one of the ways you train more aggressive breeds, like German Shepherds, Malinois, and shit like that, when they're puppies, when they start to get bitey and aggressive, you flip them over really fast, put them on their back, and pin them to the ground, and they'll calm down. Like, oh, you're the pack leader, right? That's something that young men need to learn as well. And I'm not saying you have to flip them over and push them into the ground, although it is effective, frankly, to do that. But it's one of the reasons that roughhousing with young kids teaches them emotional regulation, period, right? So, and then, you know, as things go along, being an active participant in the life of your child and seeing, like, watching them interact with other kids and not intervening, but then stepping in later and saying, hey, the way you handled that was not correct. Here's how you should handle that. Stuff like that is clear. It's clear to me from watching this that none of these kids had that in their life. So it isn't just about divorce and breakup. Mm-hmm. Sometimes these families stay together and it still goes wrong, and it's always because of dad. It's always because dad didn't do his fucking job. Because mom's not the leader. Dad is. He's the one that sets the tone for all this shit.
So I'm looking at this photo, Bob. When was this taken, by the way?
Relatively recently, I would imagine.
I was going to say, so
Carmelo looks
he
about
looks
the same
pretty,
age.
yeah.
But and also, Bob, like I know this area very well, Frisco. It's an affluent white area, to be honest with you.
Yeah, my father-in-law lives in Plano. I'm up. My father-in-law lives in the same county that this thing happened.
And so, like, this is. I do want to point out this is extremely rare for that area. Like, holy shit. That's one. Two, I'm looking at this photo here, and it, no offense, but to be dressed up like this and have a picture like this also takes money. So, like...
Yeah, I don't think they're poor anymore.
No, they're not.
No.
That was like an initial, probably a little racist, thought that people had. Were like, oh, they're poor. How could they afford this? That? Like, if they live up there, they're probably not
Yeah,
poor.
I don't think... I mean, if you know where they're from, it's hard to imagine them being poor because there are no poor people that live anywhere near that fucking place.
But the other part of this,
and Plano or Frisco.
Yeah, and Bob, is this picture on screen right now?
No, I mean, there's other kids in it. I don't know.
Here's why I say post.
Okay, well, it's already been up. So
okay, so here's why I say post it. Go ahead, and I'll tell you in a second, okay? All right, you can take it back down. I'm not here to slander this family or anything else. Like it looks like they're going to Easter Sunday Mass or something else from just the optics of this photo right here. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe you can tell me here, Adam. This doesn't look like a family that is divided or split or divorced.
That's what I'm saying.
Or anything else.
This looks
like a normal American family that is... I don't know how you can ask for what appears, and again, this is one picture, to be a normal upbringing.
I mean, most school shooters come out of like decent homes.
I know, which, by the way, we're going to get to that one after this because that one shocked the fuck out of me last night of who that was. But let's start with this family first. Yeah. What else could have been done? Because by all accounts, I don't think they're divorced. It appears they're still together.
Right.
It appears they have money just based on where they are. And where our partner lives and all that other stuff. So it's like, what else could have been done in a situation other than making one mistake of bringing a butcher knife to school? And look, we've all
done it.
Not a butcher knife, not a butcher knife.
Yeah.
But we've all made bad decisions as children in life.
Yeah.
Even when we had good parents, where you're just like, fuck, man, if I would have done this one thing, that one day, at that one time, it could have ruined the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Now, do I agree with the minister and all this other bullshit? Absolutely not.
Right.
And do they know that their kid's probably going to jail the rest of his life? Yes. It seems that they're resigned to that and they're trying to just kind of knock down the years here. What would you suggest in something like this? Because by all accounts, it seems like a normal fucking family.
Well, it's not normal for dad to be a pussy.
But I don't. I have no confirmation of that.
Sure you do. Look at the kid's behavior.
But
that is the confirmation. If I plant a seed and I tell you it's oranges and an apple comes out of the fucking ground, you know I was lying, right?
But was it on this kid's own volition to bring that butcher knife without his parents knowing?
Well, I don't think he asked dad, like, hey, what do you think I should do? Oh, better bring a butcher knife. No, it's the dad did not teach him how to regulate his emotions.
I think he's correct.
Okay.
So there are a lot of families, especially if you're saying they're likely affluent. There are a lot of affluent families who, for show, are together, but behind the scenes at home, it's all types of dysfunctional.
No, that's true.
So we don't
that.
know. It looks better, and maybe it's more cost effective to stay together. They have that mentality rather than, like, when I'm saying the parents should stay together, I'm saying as a minimal effort, like, stay together because you're better you're more likely to try to resolve things. So you do live in peace. Most people want to live in peace. So try to figure that out. But for this type of situation, I don't know what's happening in their home, but I think you're 100% correct. I know 100% sure my son would never do anything like that in that type of situation. He would never feel the need to escalate.
Same, by the way. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
He would never feel the need to escalate to that situation. And listen, even if let's say the 100%, it was touch me and see what happens, right? That's tough guy talk, right?
That's not how like people that are actually tough talk, by the way. That's how fucking feigned toughness sounds.
Exactly. And so, toughness is picking your battles. It's a lot easier to just be reactionary and be emotional. It is tough to walk away from something. And that's the type of stuff that you're supposed to learn from your father specifically, to tell you, if you mess up, they'll put you in jail. So don't fuck around, because you might be 17, but guess what? You could try it as a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then look, I don't want to absolve the kid entirely. He is an adult. 17 is an adult, and he has agency, and he made that decision too, right? But we set our the people we're responsible for, whether it's a child or somebody you're managing in the workplace, your subordinate soldier, anybody it is, to include your family. You set them up for failure or success. You know what I mean? And then they get to choose. They get to choose what they're going to do. But a guy who fucking gets bullied, if that is indeed the case, which it sounds like it might be from the resources we've heard, who doesn't interdict the bullying in a way that makes sense, right? Tell an authority figure or go fucking punch a dude in his goddamn face, which is what I would do, and results to lethal action because of it, is not somebody who has been raised in a place where he's emotionally regulated. There's that's not a fucking debate. I know that for a fact because it's just basic human psychology. So, and then on the other side, a kid's dead, and I don't want to imply that he did anything to deserve it, because certainly being a dick, you should get your ass kicked, not stabbed to death, right?
Right.
But you should get your ass kicked, frankly, right? And if it's my kid and I see him fucking bullying somebody else, I'm up in his ass immediately.
Same here.
You will not fucking do that.
Yes, you will not bully.
No, power is a gift, and it is to be used to help people, period. And if you use it the other way, I'll take it from you, motherfucker.
Yeah. And then, because this will literally switch to like the FSU thing and the race issue. I mean, 2 back-to-back stories within days of each other is nuts to me. So the Florida State shooter, which Dan and I didn't talk about this yesterday. We typically like to wait until there's facts out before we know about what's going on. All this shit is like, initially it was 6 dead, there was 5 hurt, there was 5. I have no idea. That's why we didn't do it on yesterday's show, but we'll talk about it today. Now we have the facts. All right, the facts are this. He was white. People are saying, I don't want to fundraise for him.
What sort of
T-shirts
what
with
sort
his
of
fucking
white
photo.
What sort of white was he?
He was a white liberal.
No, I mean
A white liberal male.
like what kind
He
of
was
white?
not
though?
liberal.
He was.
No.
So they've got a photo of him right now, and hey, this could be incorrect.
That's according to the New York Post. That is not the case.
Okay, so according to this, they've got a photo of him that says "Fight Trump" and the GOP agenda and all that other stuff. Is that
Well,
not true?
he might be farther to the right than Trump too. That doesn't necessarily mean he's left. To be fair. He could be a libertarian. They're going crazy these days. Bob? What's your take on this?
So
what have you heard? I'm sorry. What's the post?
Well,
say?
here's what the Post says. Just months ago, he said, "There's not really much you can do to stop Donald Trump unless you want to revolt." The FSU perpetrator, Phoenix Elkner, was rabidly anti-Trump. Phoenix previously talked to the FSU News during a Fight Trump protest in which he was carrying a flag, and they've got a photo of him in this flag. If you want to pull that up. And again, no idea if that is I can just text it to you or send it to you if you want. But he says, I think it's a little too late. Trump is already going to be inaugurated on January 20th. There's not really much you can do unless you outright revolt. He was also documented as taking part in an anti-Trump, pro-Palestine protest on campus. And I'll send this to you.
So that pro-Palestine protest, he was interviewed at the protest by FSU's student newspaper. I don't believe he was a part of it because part of the other quote that you didn't catch is he said, "These people are just, I came to watch, these people are just funny to me." And at the end of the revolt quote, he said, "The only thing I guess you could do is an armed revolt, but nobody wants that."
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like... What do you mean the only thing you can do is an armed revolt?
And here's the weird thing, by the way, Bob.
To stop Donald Trump from becoming president.
So here's the other thing, Bob.
So he wants to do it. He just knows he's a bitch and can't. So he goes back home, stews on it for 4 months, and then shoots up his school. So he was fucking liberal for sure, or whatever they are now.
Well, here's the weird thing.
That word doesn't exist.
Show this photo, Bob, right here. Is that on screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Now show the other one from the New York Post. It doesn't even look like the same person.
You think he like mentally fucking degraded over the last couple of months?
This kid, the kid from the Post, looks like a big, kind of a beefier dude here.
Unless that was a victim.
Totally opposite. I don't know.
I don't know.
No, that's the guy, but just a different picture.
Well, it's the same picture in the Post. Yeah.
Okay, but that's the guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so who is the other guy then that they were posting?
That's the same dude.
Guy.
It's the same dude, and he's just what? Grown up and thrown on 45 pounds?
I think it's just a bad photo of the guy.
That's
the other one?
Really bad photo then.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ.
I mean,
that's a
know
different
when.
hair color.
This one, I don't know when this was taken, but that other one looked like it was taken in like high school. The selfie picture that was going around from his Instagram AVI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But with that, I believe he was the sheriff deputy's son, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
A sheriff's deputy, so there might be like 100 of those on a
No.
force.
For this particular community.
No, I got it, but they're like there's a sheriff who's elected, and then there's however many deputies they employ. So it's not the sheriff's deputy's kid. There might be 30 or 40 people that work at that department, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
one of them, yeah, and she's, if you want to look, you know what? Fuck her. Put her picture up there because she is a fat retard. How the fuck is somebody like this going to stop me from doing something?
I don't know, but
honestly, the chances of her interdicting and me committing a crime of any sort and stopping me from doing it are zero.
Right.
Not one fucking prayer. Oh, I mean, like.
Right. I mean, she couldn't chase you more than 5 feet. If you see a wide shot of her.
Yeah. If you want to be a fat dummy and work a normal job or whatever, that's your choice. Enjoy, losing your foot to diabetes, I guess. But if you're going to put on a uniform and take up the responsibility of defending other people, you cannot look like that. I'm sorry. That is irresponsible, and you should be ashamed for it.
Well, there's some more news about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Bob.
It never fucking ends.
I know. It never ends. Go ahead.
To the family stuff. I guess they had a contentious divorce or custody battle. Suspected FSU shooter, this is also from the Post. Phoenix Eichner's biological mom kidnapped him, fled to Norway amid bitter custody battle years before deadly rampage.
Okay, so this is the
This
book.
woman did?
This is why we had him on the show. We got 2 stories in 48 hours with somebody not parenting correctly, and who the fuck knows what's going on. But I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, by the way,
Yeah.
white shooter, black, stabber, whatever you want to call him there, and both murderers here. To my knowledge, there's not a GoFundMe for this kid, is there?
I doubt it. Also, apparently, according to this Post article, Eichner had severe mental health issues, including a growth hormone disorder.
Okay. So that's what, Dan? Exactly. What do you have at 20 years old that's a growth hormone disorder?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe that's why he's bending down on the tree. It's because he's 4'8". I don't know what the story is for this, but either way, it's bizarre, and you can kind of trace this back to family and what's going on there.
Yeah, and by the way, Bob, what you said earlier is not true. I mean, a 2016 study shows that about 80 to 82% of school shooters, mass shooters in general, if you isolate for mass shooters that don't involve gangs specifically, it's almost entirely, it's 82% from single-parent families. Now, later research from the Secret Service, I think, data, and the research I think was done by the University of Chicago, which you got, to be honest, I hate to say this, but you kind of got to take that for what it's worth because they're leftist as shit there, but they tried to kind of spread it out over a wider group of people, and their ultimate conclusion was that while there is it does, like, a single family home definitely, especially fatherless, increases the chances dramatically of somebody being involved in school shootings. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to correlate it. Or it was correlative and not causal. That was their conclusion. I don't know how they came up with that, to be honest. Maybe it's because a bunch of people that didn't have dads also did not shoot of schools, but that's not really how data management works. So
Right.
No, and all of this shit, by the way, I don't give a fuck if this guy was Republican or Democrat. I don't give a fuck what race they are for both of these cases at all. Why did it happen? Why are these kids fucking doing this? And the media's making a big deal of like, oh, well, he took his mom's gun or whatever. It was like, well, he's fucking 20 and his mom's been a sheriff's deputy for 18 years. Like,
right.
I'm sure at that point she was like, well, he must be fine. Who knows? But in this situation, do you talk about that in your book?
Not necessarily mass shootings, but I think a lot of people have basically stated that mass shootings are a way, especially for young men specifically, to either express their frustration for whatever it is and to gain attention. Because it becomes like this copycat thing. It becomes this outlet that becomes almost like immortalized. Like they look forward to it. They see that the Columbine situation, let's just say, like, look, they're still talking about them, right? They feel invisible. They want some sort of attention, but they also want some sort of revenge. So they might use that as an opportunity. Did they say did he die or was he shot or?
Yeah, so he was injured. They did take him. He's in the hospital now.
Okay.
However, he's going to live. He's fine. There's some other kids that are in serious condition there, but he's refusing to cooperate with police, obviously, probably because his mom told him.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't say anything.
I don't know how there's a way out of either of these cases for these.
No.
Like, it's just.
yeah, I mean, if my kid went to their school and shot it up, I would put a pillow over their face until they stopped moving.
Or
That's my responsibility. It's like, Lassie, your dog fucks up. You're the one's got to put him down.
Or
this dude he should have been put down before this.
cut them off to the world and go in and tell the judge, hey, I was a horrible parent. I apologize. Do whatever you're going to do so the victims' families feel like they got justice, and I'd walk right the fuck out of that courtroom.
Yeah.
That'd be it.
If I can, to go back a little bit to the Karmelo Anthony situation.
For sure.
If that was my son who had stabbed another boy and killed him, right? The number one thing, if I was a good, healthy father, I would never allow another man to absolve him of his responsibility. Because all you saw in that press conference is finger pointing and blaming bullshit all around. Well, the weather was this way. Why didn't they do this? That's not the point.
They didn't even bring up the whole bullying part.
No.
Right.
Like, that's not even part of it. We heard that from somebody who was there.
Right.
Right? Like a third party. And you can I think they may have mentioned it in the police report to some degree that there was some other altercation, but they didn't call it that. But this dude who's their representative blamed everybody to include the fucking weather.
Yeah,
but didn't bring up
But
which would
bullying-
have been a legitimate thing to say. Hey, they were
I
fucking
agree.
with him for
Yep.
weeks prior to this. Not even on the site, but even other people at his own school were coming after him.
Yes.
That's something to say. That's a point to be made. It's not a point to be made that everybody's racist and the rain is also racist.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry, man. So you can tell, to your point, they clearly weren't trying to make any kind of legal point there. They were just trying to absolve him of any responsibility.
Yeah, they definitely weren't trying to make a legal point by not bringing a lawyer.
Yeah, Jesus.
I mean, yeah.
And everybody sees this now.
Yeah.
Like, everybody that might be on this jury pool has seen them act like fools now. How are you helping yourself? Even if, like, you're in a deep state of cognitive dissonance, he's not guilty of anything, he's my special boy, everything, you still don't know that this is poisoning the jury pool? You look like a bunch of assholes.
There's a reason the first line of the Miranda rights is what it is.
Yeah, no shit, yeah.
Well-
Good Lord. It doesn't apply to the family, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. And I will say this: I have like a tinge of empathy when it comes to Karmelo's family, because these types of people are vultures. The civil rights people, all these little lawyers that pop up out of nowhere, they are like ambulance chasers for dead black people or black people who get caught up in the law, right? And so they can claim some sort of racial issue. So I don't think a normal person, and they're just probably normal people with normal lives, I don't think a normal person is prepared for the amount of vultures that are come their way and get in their ear when they're vulnerable, because they're like, legitimately, my son's going to lose his life because he's going to get locked up in jail. They're emotional. They have news outlets reaching out to them. And someone says, I got your back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so, yeah, they're unfortunately, because they're not prepared for this, because no one can really prepare for this, they got vultures at their door. And that guy may be their pastor in real life, Well, guess what? Your pastor's a vulture too, with a long rap sheet, and he couldn't wait. Oh, this is a payday right here.
Right.
And so he's going to get out here and be in the limelight so we can talk about him. You know, so this is a very unfortunate situation, even for the family. So they could do something smart by not talking a lot, by not being part of the political, the politicization, the race conversation. But they allowed this man to stand up there and represent them and throw Donald Trump into the mix and throw rain as an issue and race as an issue and this paranoia about being black every day. They allowed this guy up there to just trounce everything, all the progress that they were probably making, gone because of this one single act.
What do you think would have happened if he would have gone up there and said, "Hey, I see you, the father. Obviously, we have this family here. This is a tragedy. There was some bullying involved, and hopefully, he's not going to jail for the rest of his life, and maybe we can talk about this as a community or whatever."
Well, you know, the Metcalf dad did say, like 3 days after the event, that he was a tragedy for both families.
Yes.
Right? Which I would not have said. I would have said, I'm going to kill all of you.
Correct.
That's what I would have done.
But the fact that he even showed that restraint and reached out an olive branch and said this is a tragedy for both families, recognizing this family is also going to lose their kid for the rest of their lives, like probably, is wild to me because I'm with you, Dan. I mean, the rage would have been too much for me. But the fact that he even said that, for Christ's sakes, like, why not, if you brought the community, or tried to at least, and try to bring them together and everything else, why not try to start that? Or are you just admitting guilt? Or I don't, because he brought up the cameras and everything else. And
everything but the only thing that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so weird. I mean,
is.
obviously the guy's not a professional. He's just some grifter, like twat,
right,
to be honest.
But still, we gave him well, not us, but maybe us. We've given this guy a platform. He's everywhere. He's still all over Twitter. He's fucking all over social media and the news and everywhere else.
Well, here's the good news is this will be the last one for him. Nobody's hiring this guy to fucking speak for him again, or his organization.
Well, I think that's kind of the media environment we're in right now, right? It doesn't matter if 80% of the people rightly know 90% of the people rightly know you're a dipshit, because 10% of the people just love it and buy all your shit. Right? It's all segmented audiences.
Well,
now.
not just buy all your shit, but give you money.
Yeah.
Which is all this is, right?
Which is all this is. And
then the crux of that speech that he gave was that people are out there talking shit, and it's going to stop you from sending us money. Well, don't listen.
Yeah.
Okay, bud.
Keep sending money, which is wild to me.
And what do they need the money for? Legal fees for your organization?
Yep.
Like, well, that's a coincidence.
Yeah,
I'm just here to help the family.
I'm here to help the family.
That sounds like Nigerian scam rhetoric.
I know.
I know your family members say I'm fake, but keep sending me money.
Keep sending me money. This is all working.
Yeah.
Because then this will lead into the last one that just happened as of late last night. The Menendez brothers. Obviously, that was a famous trial, and they blew away their fucking parents and all that other shit. There has been a lot of celebrities advocating for these guys' release and that they're healed and something happened to them in their childhood and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, man. And the DA, luckily, for the new one they just hired in Los Angeles, and it just went through in this last election, said, give me this fucking case. Let me review this again. Like, the Kardashians are there. The cast of the shit is there and everything else. And he goes, you know what? I looked at this case, and here's what I can't get past. You went and shot your parents, point blank range. One of them still wasn't dead magically, so you went back out to the car, you reloaded, and then you put it at gunpoint and just kept firing away at your parents here. Me and my wife personally, and like don't give a fuck that these guys are white or what their race is or anything else.
Are they?
Should not get out of prison.
Wait, what's their last name?
Menendez.
I think their father was Cuban.
Father was Cuban, mom was white. Like a white blonde.
Bob Menendez is Cuban. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
And so I don't give a fuck what their race is or anything else. These fucking dudes should not be getting out of jail. Luckily, they pushed this.
Well, I mean, like,
said, hey,
part of it is the punishment part, sure. Part of it is the rehabilitation part, and then part of it is, are they still a danger to society? I suppose as long as there's not another set of parents out there to rape them again.
But here's the thing.
They're probably not a danger anymore.
That has been an issue in this trial, is that has never been proven. Now, what we did have was him writing in journals saying, all right, if we say we got raped, we could probably get out of this. And they were going back and forth, and eventually they had to separate them and put them in other jails and all this other shit. That has never been proven. So, like, to me, if you're just looking at the evidence of this fucking thing, going back out to the car after blowing your parents away, like, yeah, probably not going to get off there.
I mean, that's just being thorough.
For them.
Yeah.
But also, they shouldn't get out of jail for that.
There's an old saying, if you shoot someone and you think they're dead, be sure, shoot them in the head.
Yep.
John Menery.
Well, the Menendez brothers lived that.
Maybe they read that book. Yeah.
They lived it. They actually lived it. And they did it. But that's another case of the rape thing and the molestation. It's never been proven. But there was clearly something there within the family or something happened between the parents and the kids there.
I don't know. Let's say it did happen. You still planned out and plotted to murder both of your parents. So if you're in that much of danger, we talked about emotional regulation.
Yeah. And
right?
by the way, they were how old at the time?
I think they were adults.
They weren't 15.
18
Right.
and 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you could just leave.
Right.
You know.
Well, they were. One of them was in college.
Yeah.
Got caught cheating. And then the dad flew to, it was like Harvard or something like that. It was just like, all right, there's got to be a way around this, okay? And I even tried to say, hey, man, we're going to get you back in school and everything's going to be fine.
Right.
Hired him to his fucking firm. Or not his firm, his record label or whatever it was. And then,
Record label.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Dude, he did the Menudo deal, bro.
Oh, well, so
Come on, man.
You say that and then get incredulous about me not knowing, but you didn't know that Menudo replaces their band members every 3 years.
They do. No, I knew that.
No, you didn't know that.
Fuck yeah, I did.
No, because there's no Menudo deal. There's a Menudo deal every 3 years.
It's not every 3 years. If you still look like a child, they'll extend your deal, which is even darker.
Is that still going? Is Menudo still a thing?
Not to this
And
day.
why did they name a Puerto Rican fucking pop band after soup as well? That
Not
seems
sure.
weird.
I don't think he was full.
We should do a white one called broccoli cheddar.
I would like it. Yeah, Dana Carvey could run it.
Yeah.
Chopping broccoli. But with these stories here, it's all involving the last 3 days. Parents, victims, parents, victims, parents, victims here.
Well, the Menendez brothers one, I think, is more likely bullshit, personally. But let's say if it's true.
That's what I think too, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's more like a bullshit. I think it's something to gain some sort of empathy from people like the Kardashians. But I think it's a ploy for them to get out earlier than anything else. But let's say it's true. Let's say this really happened by their father. You were an adult. You had other options other than murdering both of your parents. So to me, I'm just like, all right, and you planned it. So it's not like they were actively being raped by their father and they shot and killed them or something like that. They plotted out this entire ordeal and executed it. And now they're like, but we were molested. No, that's not how this works.
That wouldn't stand up to legal rigor. I mean, you remember the bully case, right? I can't remember where it was in California somewhere, I think. But they made a movie about it sometime in the early 90s, or I'm sorry, in the early 2000s. But there was this one kid that was like bullying, sexually assault, like literally raping some of the girls around. And the group of kids that they were mostly in their like mid-teens, 15, 16 years old, got together and murdered this dude, and they all went to prison. Like that's just you can't just like design a plan and murder somebody like that. Unfortunately, I mean, look, maybe they should have. Maybe it should be okay that you could do that. I'm not saying the Menendez are legit when they say that they were raped or anything, but even when it was definitive, that still wasn't necessarily an excuse to premeditate murder.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. It's like you plotted out this entire ordeal. You were well equipped, and you were like, oh no, we didn't just shoot them. We want to make sure they're dead. So let me go back to the car and get some more bullets. Like, you wanted this to happen, and on top of that, you lied and covered it up. So like, so like that to me, there's no remorse. There's no like, oh, we shouldn't have done that. You would have gotten away with it, and you would have lived your life, and you would have been perfectly fine with it.
They were spending like $400,000. I mean, like a family CPA had to intervene and be like, hey guys, do you need to stay at the Beverly Hills Hotel like every single night? And they were like, well, we can't go back to the house. I've got a card over there on Ross Patterson Revolution set where they were courtside at the Knicks game. It was the Mark Jackson card. and they just happen to be in the background. That's serious. I mean, it's like, it's worth a lot of money, but it's like, that's what they were doing.
Right.
I mean, they were doing fucking blow, raging their faces off everything else. So like, yeah, dude, I have zero sympathy for this whatsoever. I don't even think this should be an issue of them getting out or not. It's like, nope, we're all good here. If there was never a fucking Netflix show,
I was about to say
got nothing.
My wife was watching that, and I was sitting there watching it. I'm like, are they trying to make me feel bad for them?
I know. That's what I looked at. I said the same thing with my wife. I was like, what the fuck are we doing here? And she's like, I don't know. These motherfuckers are guilty as shit. And I was like, I have no sympathy for the Menendez brothers.
No.
Whatsoever. But yeah, it's certainly been wild these last few hours and everything else. What other cases and what other stories helped you write this book in particular, and why did you think The Children We Left Behind is so important for parents to read and everybody else to go out there and buy and read?
Well, much of the book is my own personal story, growing up without my father and how it impacted me. Granted, I never got into drug addiction or anything like that, but I struggled with depression, suicidal ideation, being admitted into a mental hospital at the age of 8.
You personally?
Yeah.
And that was due to the divorce?
No, my father, they were never married, but we just got done moving through from Detroit to Virginia to New York, being homeless. There was just a lot of stuff that was happening at that moment, especially over like the 2 previous years. And so I just had a mental break at the age of 8, and I was admitted, and I was in there for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost hard to imagine. And again, having kids that age, I don't even know how that would happen. Do you remember it at all?
I remember, yeah, and I detail. There are definitely aspects of that experience, you know. And the thing about it that I try to tell people, when you go into a mental hospital, it's different than going to jail. When you go to jail, you know how long you're going to be there for. When you go into a mental hospital, you don't know when you're getting out. It's up to someone to determine, okay, today is fine. And so when you're 8, and then your mother comes and visits you, and you're thinking, is today the day I get to go home? And she has to say no, which is heartbreaking for my mother. Like that was the mental torture of what I had to go through. And especially at that age, I just knew, like, just do whatever they tell you to do. It's like, I know if I'm going to go home, I just have to do whatever yes, I'm happy. I'm fine. Just do whatever they tell you. But
you knew that at 8?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I recognized that. But once I got out, I was different. The issues didn't go away. I just learned to shield them better. And that was the thing about me most of my life. I just hid my emotions and didn't talk about it. It was hard to tell if I was happy or sad, because I think deep down I was always afraid of going back.
And for you as a man, getting married, having a child, and all that other stuff, how has that personal trauma that you went through affected the way you raise your child?
The number one thing, once my son was born, I knew I didn't want to be my father. That was like the number one thing. So at the very least, it was a very low bar, but be involved in my son's life. And then from there, try to become the father that I thought I would have wanted when I was a kid. And so I did the best that I possibly could. And I was active in his life. I would talk to him. So built a relationship about communication, trust with each other, and being honest with each other, giving him lessons. And I think by everything that happened with me, there were a lot of things I learned later in life that most kids or most people would have learned earlier on. So I was actually like, you know, people, they get the baby years and they're like, oh, they're so cute. I was looking forward to the teenage years. I was the opposite because I was like, I get to tell him life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a wild perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as your child, how old is your child right now?
He's 19.
19.
Yeah.
Has he read the book?
I don't think he's read this one yet. He read my first book, which I detail some experiences when I was a kid. And he gained an appreciation from that because we obviously had discussions about like my father not being there, but he didn't know to like what extent certain things had happened. So I give it like a little bit of storytelling in the first book, but this one is all out, like very detailed and descriptive.
Because at 19 years old, one would think, your child, just because obviously you're his dad, and it seems like you guys are close by all accounts.
Yeah.
He could probably go out and buy the book on his own or whatever and read it and want to learn about your childhood and everything that had happened to you.
Yeah.
Do you expect that to happen? Or are you going to have a conversation with him before, potentially?
No, I gave him a copy.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. I just don't know because he's working and stuff. So I don't know how much he's read as of yet because the book just came out a few weeks ago.
Right.
So, I'm sure he will read it. I've sent him articles and all types of stuff. So he's aware of everything I'm doing. And I told him the reason I'm even doing all this, because my background's in IT, the reason I started becoming a writer and writing books and writing articles is because of my son. I wanted to show him, you can say these uncomfortable things, but they're truthful, and you can express yourself. And if I can do it, you can do it as well. So, sitting here talking and being free to express myself, whether people agree or disagree, it takes a level of confidence to do that. And so I want my son to have just as much confidence.
And for you personally, because I follow you on Twitter, you have a massive following.
Thank you.
You're not right, left, anything. By all accounts, it appears you're just an independent dude who's just looking at separate issues, and whatever I think is the case, and that's it. Why did so many people gravitate towards you personally?
Because I have a general rule. I don't engage in bad faith conversations with people. So I don't dunk on people. I don't go back and forth. I don't argue with people. My goal is I'm just going to say how I feel, and I'll leave it there. And maybe I'll talk to you about it. But I don't engage in the negative online, animosity kind of thing. I'd much rather build bridges than to do that. But I'm critical of power, right? So I am going to talk about politicians. I am going to talk about policy. But I'm not going to talk about your grandmother who has a differing opinion, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk about ideology. I'm going to talk about how people think. So these things I think are important. I'm going to talk about social issues, but I'm going to do it in a mature, non-radical, I'm trying to piss you off. Everything is race and everything is that. Plenty of times I've written articles for the New York Post where the first thing someone would say, this is a race thing.
Yes.
And I say, no, it's not.
Yeah.
This is actually something completely different. This is a family issue or something to that effect. I don't always go into that vein when I don't think it's necessary.
And the reason why I wanted to bring up these three particular cases in a row today is not only do I follow you, and I know that's your stance, but that is also my stance as well. I don't give a fuck about race or anything in these issues.
Right.
It is simply what happened, how do we correct it, who did wrong and why all these fucking people are using the media for horrific crimes that have been committed here is beyond me. I just don't understand. We do this thing called Drinkin' Bro of the Week at the end of every show, which is someone who has inspired you or helped you become the person you are today. Who would you like to give Drinkin' Bro of the Week to?
My son.
I figured. And it's great. It's great.
My son, even throughout all those struggles, my son gave me purpose. The suicidal ideation, the depression, I worked through those things because of my son, because he was more important than my struggles. Becoming a better person, becoming a writer, and doing all these things started because of my son. Right, my first book, I wanted to write a book to have like a legacy thing for my son, not to become some, author. I thought 10 people might buy the book. I didn't really care. I just wanted to have something for my son so he can show like if I can do it, you can do it too. So yeah, 100% my son all day.
And that's what I tell writers all the time. If you're trying to get a message out to your family or friends or whatever, you don't necessarily have to be a New York Times bestselling author.
No.
You can just put it out. They will find it. And then that one person maybe you were hoping to reach when you wrote that one thing is the actual person you were hoping that would change. And so it's great.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you being here. The book is called The Children We Left Behind. It is out now. Last question before you get out of there. If you have one tip to dads out there with children, what would it be? What would be your biggest tip to give a new father out there and a mother?
Never underestimate your importance to your child. You're incredibly important, and don't listen to anybody who tries to downplay it. Whether you're a mother or father, you're incredibly important. The most important parent to a child is the same-sex parent. So, and the opposite sex demonstrates how the opposite sex should treat your child. So you're important in different ways, but you're incredibly important. So never underestimate that.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for being here, man. Love your Twitter and everything else.
Thank you.
And everything you're doing. Check out this book if you're out there. The Children We Left Behind, now available. Amazon's the easiest. It'll be there in 48 hours.
Yeah.
And it's 93% of book sales. So just go to Amazon and buy the book. Adam Coleman, thank you for being here. We greatly appreciate it. I know sometimes, well, most of the time we do wild-ass shows. Sometimes we try to help a little bit here. And thank you for coming on today's show. Please go to iTunes, rate this show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. Also, head on over to Spotify. It's just a 5-star, and you can walk away. And say iTunes, Spotify. I think that's it these days. So that's kind of what we're down to. They're buying up everything at that point. And to everybody who celebrates, happy Good Friday, happy Easter, everybody. For D'Anthony Hollaway, Adam Coleman, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin' Bros Podcast. Good night, everyone.